Good afternoon to 403 and welcome to the great outdoors. This is your captain speaking. I hope everyone's doing really well. I know it's been a while, we've been indoors, we've been kind of cooped up, and I certainly am starting to feel it, which is exactly why I decided to come out here. I love the wilderness, I love to be outdoors, and I figured it was about time I showed you guys what you can do out here, because you're probably wondering, well, Captain, what are you doing sitting in the middle of the woods? All there are trees around you, mosquitoes. I mean, what are you doing out here? What's the deal? And I just wanted to kind of tell you guys a little story before starting into this. And this story is, the whole point of this is just to let you guys know how important it is to prepare for this kind of thing. My plan today was to come out here, spend about, we'll say, half an hour, make a video, explain to you guys some of the safety tips out here, some of the things you can do, some of the interesting things you can find in the woods locally. Those plans kind of got thrown into disarray. As you can see, this is my kit right here, and when I first walked into the bush, I put my kit down, and I told myself, you know what, I'm going to leave my kit in somewhere I can see really well. So I put it up high, up on a stump like this, and then I went exploring. Well, sure enough, 10 minutes went by and I said, where's my kit? I lost track of my kit. I spent the next hour and a half trudging through the bush looking for this bag. Now finally I found it, and I wasn't going to leave the bush without it, but the fact of the matter is I had only planned on spending about half an hour out here, and here we are 2 hours in, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't really bring any food with me, didn't bring any water, and if I would have really gotten lost, if I would have walked in here and lost track of where I was, not been able to find my way out, I would have been in a lot of trouble not being prepared like that. So I just wanted to go over some of the things I like to carry with me in my kit. Tip number one, always have your kit with you. Do not leave it behind like I did. Have it with you, but I just want to go over some of the things that you may want to bring with you when you're in the woods like this. Even if you're planning to go for half an hour, plan on being there for a day, because you never know when you're going to get lost. You never know what's going to happen. And well, as I've demonstrated, I mean, you can see exactly what happens. I ended up here an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I'll be honest, I was losing hope. I was looking around saying, you know what, I'm not going to find this stuff. And in here this is the stuff I need if I do get caught and I do get lost. So I want to tell you guys about just some of the things, and this is not a full survival kit here, but this is just some good stuff that you may want to bring with you if you decide to come out here. So just go in here and find, all right, so first thing, granola bars. I like foods like this because granola bars last forever. They're nutrient dense and they're not bad for you. They're not, it's not candy, it's not chips. It's stuff that'll give you energy if you need it. I wasn't really planning on eating these today, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm probably going to go through both of them because, again, I've been out here for a few hours now, and I'm getting hungry. I am getting pretty hungry, and I want something to eat, so it's a good thing I've got these on me. Other thing, bottle of water. I wouldn't recommend a reusable bottle. I know that plastic bottles, there's a lot of talk around, the pollution factor, the waste factor and all that. But the fact of the matter is, with a plastic bottle, you can use this for a lot of different things. I mean, once you're done drinking it, if I were to be stuck out here for an extended period of time, I can use this for other purposes. I can make a rain catcher with it. I can make a funnel with it. I can cut it across the bottom and make a cup with it. There's a lot of different things I can do with this, and I can even use it as something that I can collect water with. Very cheap, very accessible, and something you should have with you. At least one. I brought just one with me because, again, I wasn't expecting to be out for very long, but great thing to have with you. You got to take care of your basic needs. So food, water, those are always the number one. But you want to make your life comfortable as well. I mean, you never know what you're going to run into. So I'm going to show you some of the other things I've got here. So I've got this. This is a flashlight here. So there's 3 functions on this flashlight. So the first one, got an LED light here. It's pretty strong. So if it was to get dark, I wouldn't be stuck. Other thing, got another feature here. It's more of a beacon. So if I wanted to get somebody's attention, I could start waving this around at night, and there's a good chance someone would see it. Same with the last feature, which is the flashing red light. You can't see it very well right now, but that's another one that can be seen from very far. And if you are in trouble, that's something that people are going to notice and say, how come there's a red light flashing in the woods? Maybe someone's in trouble. So that's a great thing to have. I've got a flashlight here. I've got another flashlight. The reason I have 2 of them is because you never know when your batteries are going to die, when you're going to break some of your equipment, when you're going to leave something behind like I did. It's always best to have more than one copy of the stuff that you really think you need. So flashlight for me, it's light, it's easy, and it's something you really want to have with you. So we're going to stuff that back in there. Now, I got something else at the bottom. I can't see exactly what it is right now. Oh, that's just a... okay, there's a battery down there. We don't really need to show the battery. Now, I'll go around to the other side. The whole purpose of coming here today, I was going to make a video and show you guys some of the wild edibles you can find in the woods in Eastern Ontario. So if you guys may not be aware of this, but in the springtime, if you were to be in a situation where you were in the woods and you did not have something to eat and you were out here and you were getting hungry, there actually is a lot of stuff you can find and eat out here. Now, disclaimer before you go out running in the woods and picking everything that you see out here in the bush and trying to eat it, you want to do this as a last resort. I mean, obviously picking foods out of the woods, the risk of it being covered in insects, the risk of it being dirty, it's not stuff you just want to start to pull out of the bush and start eating, you know, having a great feast like that. It's not really how it works, but I was going to show you guys how that works out, and it would require a shovel. But a shovel is a good thing to carry with you just in case, because again, it's a tool, it's something you can use for multiple purposes, and it makes your life a lot easier if you need it. If you really need one and don't have one, life's a lot harder. So we'll just stick that back in the side pocket. Now, this is my Swiss Army knife. I got this when I was in Scouts, so I mean, I think I might have been 8 years old when I got this thing. It still works just fine. It's got a number of features, so I mean, about 20 or so features in it. The basic ones, you know, you got a knife here, there's a saw blade, you've got everything from a hook, you've got like this, right? So I mean, if you have to do any type of field crafts, there's a lot of tools built in one with this, and it is very light. You want to keep in mind that you don't want this to be very heavy. You want to be taking this stuff out, and you don't want it to be a hassle, because if it's too heavy, what happens? Well, you do what I did. You leave it behind, and you turn around and you realize, where is it? I don't know where I left it, and then you're doing without, right? You don't want it to be heavy to the point where you want to leave it behind, you're getting annoyed by it. So that's why I go with the Swiss Army knife instead of any bigger tools. It's sufficient for going out for the day like I'm doing. Couple of bungee cords. Now, the bungee cords probably aren't going to get any use today, but these are great for building shelters. So should I get into a situation where I'm stuck out here again for the night and have to spend the night, rather than trying to make my own cordage out of grass and making ropes and things like that out of what I'm finding on the ground, these bungee cords are not only very elastic, but they're quite strong, and I could build something out of that. I can also, and I'm not going to do it right now because I want to hold on to these, but in an emergency, I could cut these open and you would find a number of elastic bands inside. That's what makes these things stretchy, is the fact that there's a bunch of elastic bands running from end to end, and you can use those for just about anything. Again, shelter building, fixing your clothes. You can even use it in a first aid situation if you're in a pinch. So that's a good thing to have. I carry a pair with me at all times. Where is our, oh, here it is. I knew it went somewhere. So this, I keep all this stuff in a Ziploc bag, and the reason for that is because this is stuff I really don't want to get wet. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, whether you drop the stuff in a puddle, it starts to rain. You know, there's a million different possibilities that you probably aren't thinking of, and you want to be ready for all of them. The Ziploc bag itself is very useful. You can use that for a number of different things, but I'm going to just show you some of the things I brought along with me for today. And I'm going to keep stressing, I mean, this is not an exhaustive list, right? This is a list of stuff that I got together in about 15 minutes before I came out today. And I expected, you know, worst comes to worst, it'll get me through the day if something like, for example, I were to injure myself or I needed to take a break or, you know, whatever else. You can never really plan for these things. But I decided what I would do is I would bring the stuff that I thought would make me more comfortable should I need it. So, first things first, we have matches. Fire is your friend. In a pinch, if it starts to get cold, I want to be able to start a fire if I have to, and I don't want to be fiddling with trying to start it, trying to rub sticks together, trying with flints. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I find the simplest one, matches. I've got a waterproof case here with waterproof matches, so in a pinch these will work. And then I have this regular pack of matches here, and those will work just as well. Again, carrying two different types of matches because you never know what's going to happen to one of them. I want to have the option to use them if I need them. So that's going to go back in the Ziploc bag. couple of carabiners. These are light carabiners. They don't, they're not rated for a lot of weight. They're not for mountain climbing or anything like that. But again, building a shelter, these things will be very useful, and they'll really come in handy for a number of different uses. So that's something I like to have on me. A timepiece. Now this is something I should be wearing, to be honest with you. I like to just throw it in the bag, but in the event that my phone were to die, and I mean, I'm looking at my battery capacity right now, and it probably will die by the end of this video. I want to know what time it is, right? It's easy to lose track when you're walking around. There's no landmarks out here. I don't see any buildings. I don't see anything going on. I can't really watch the sun go through the sky. I could spend 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in here and not realize it. So having a timepiece like this, just a watch, perfect thing to have, and really helps you keep track and kind of manage your time and be able to track, you know, when is it possibly going to be getting dark, and what types of stuff do I have to get ready should it get dark and I'm still stuck in the woods. A couple of zip ties, pretty self-explanatory, but use these for all sorts of purposes. They're great for building. And the last thing I've got in here is a deck of cards. One of the biggest enemies that you will face in a survival situation, or any situation where you're sort of stuck somewhere you don't want to be and you need to get by for longer than you have to, is boredom. When you're bored, your mind starts to think. It starts to think of the worst case scenarios. It starts to think about, what if I don't make it back? What if I get hurt? What if I run out of water? To prevent that kind of thing from happening, you need to get your mind on some sort of task. And cards are great. I mean, there's a lot of games you can play by yourself with cards, or you can even just go through them. You can match them together. You can put all the different suits together. A deck of cards will go a long way to keep you entertained in the situation where you don't have anything else to entertain you. So I'm just gonna put some of this stuff back in the bag now, because I think I've shown you most of it. On my person, of course, you can see I'm wearing a hat, and I'm just going to stand up for a second to show you what types of stuff I wore out into the woods today. So these pants are lightweight pants. They're a lot of people call them splash pants. Basically, I think they're made of some sort of waterproof fabric, water-resistant fabric. They're very nice and cool in the summertime, and they're light brown, so I like that. It blends in really well. And the reason I wore this, of course, is because going through the woods, there's a lot of stuff that can scrape against your leg when you're walking around. The last thing you want to do is injure yourself and it get infected because you can't treat it at the time. So that's why I wear long pants like this, and light long pants that'll keep me comfortable and dry if it starts to rain. In terms of top, I mean, I like to wear a t-shirt. That's up to you. The decision's up to you what you want to wear. For a top layer, it's how I'm most comfortable. It's what I usually tend to wear, so that's what I'm doing there. And got myself a pair of sunglasses. I figured I would let you guys actually see my face in this video, so the sunglasses are going to stay off for now. But that's a good idea. I mean, again, if you're out all day and there's a sun, you know, the sun's beating down on you, you can eventually get some strain on your eyes if you're out there all day looking at that bright sun, and that bright sun's in front of you. So wearing these sunglasses is definitely going to save my eyes. If I'm out here longer than I anticipated, which, well, it looks like that's kind of the way things are going. I think that's about it. Maybe the last thing I'll show you is the kit itself. Again, don't bring something very big. This bag to me is the perfect size. I mean, it's small enough that I can throw it on my back. It's actually, the real purpose of this bag is there's supposed to be a hydro pack in it. So this is supposed to be a hydration bag. Now, my water bladder itself broke a few years ago, so I had to get rid of that, and I haven't replaced it yet. But the bag itself is great. I like to take this bag and I use it as a survival kit. I've also outfitted this as a bug out bag. We're not really going to get into exactly what that is and how to build a bug out bag, but this size would be good for that kind of thing as well. So take a bag that's lightweight, something that's comfortable. And one thing I might not recommend, though, is maybe not green. That's kind of part of the reason why I lost track of it, is because here I am in the bush, everything is green, and I've got a bag that's green. So maybe at least something reflective on it. I don't know, some kind of color, maybe something that you're not going to see in the bush, something that'll really stand out. Red, orange, neon, things like that. That would have been a better choice for me, but again, in a pinch, this'll do. All right, how are we doing for time? It looks like we've been going for about 14 minutes. Well, so we're going to wrap this up in this way. My plan today was to go out here and show you guys some of the things you can find in the woods to survive off of if you had to. If you were in a situation where you wanted to find some sort of food and you didn't know what to look for, you can turn to this video and hopefully, you know, you can learn a few things. So, got my trusty shovel with me. I'm going to take the phone with me now, and I'm going to show you guys a few things. It shouldn't take too long, so